The latest One Piece chapter, 1142, is titled The Things I Fear. We see Yamato putting an end to Who's madness, and he's even posing in the same Thunder Bagua stance we've seen before. It's time to get back to the storylines we haven't seen in a while, like Kid and the Shimotsuki sword. The scene then shifts to a school where a giant serpent appears, scaring the kids. They're not exactly the bravest warriors, and they beg their teacher to save them. One of them thinks the snake might be Jormungandr, the world serpent. The serpent chomps down on the wooden school structure. The kids run for their lives while their teacher stands between them and the monster, armed with just a piece of wood. The teacher urged the kids to hide inside the school, while the staff was in a panic in the teacher's lounge. Unbelievably, a creature from the underworld had somehow made its way to the real world. The math teacher, Mr. Braid, was focused on getting everyone to safety. Meanwhile, the principal, Mr. Kiba, suggested calling for help, but he knew the kids were still in danger. A little girl cried out that one of her classmates was about to be eaten. The young giant tripped and was left behind, just like in a horror movie. But then, a giant rushed towards the monster with a huge hammer. The principal took a swing, hit the serpent's head, and sent it flying. Just then, Saul appeared, apologized for being late, and punched the monster with a hockey-coated fist. The kids stared in shock as the serpent's head was flattened. They had never seen anything like this before. It turned out that Principal Kiba was once a member of the giant warrior pirates. No wonder he was so strong. The principal complained about his back pain, while Saul wondered what was up with the giant snake. The kids had no idea that their kind principal was once a hardened warrior. They were impressed by how strong Saul was, just like his reputation suggested. Robin asked Saul if there were similar creatures in the Sun Realm. Saul admitted that there were some wild animals that appeared every now and then, but this one was especially massive. Saul apologized to the kids for showing them his scary side, but they were actually grateful. A cry went out for a teacher named Mr. Wolf. Chopper wondered what was going on this time. Inside the Walrus School, the gym teacher, Mr. Wolf, was in bad shape. He was the one who stood between the monster and the kids. He claimed to be okay and was more worried about the children. Apparently, a bunch of other students just walked away without saying a word. A giant kid moved over to Robin and asked if she and Chopper were friends of Luffy. When she confirmed they were, the boy took several steps back. Robin asked if Luffy had done something to him, and of course Luffy had terrorized them with violence and foul language. Before Saul could leave, Mr. Wolf told him to be careful and warned him not to touch the children. Saul was confused by the warning. He asked one of the kids where their classmates went, and she pointed to the beach, saying they looked like they were sleepwalking. That caught Robin's attention. The children were neatly lined up and fast asleep. The teacher shouted for them to return. Mr. Kiba called for them to sound the horn and alert the entire country. Saul asked if that wasn't a bit excessive, but the principal had a really bad feeling about this. Saul's eyes widened in shock as he took in the scene in the forest. Mr. Braid blew the horn, and Saul, Robin, and Chopper shared a look of alarm. More monsters were approaching, and no one knew where they came from. It was clear that alerting the entire country was the right call. As more children fell unconscious, with no explanation whatsoever to what's going on, Chopper got down from Saul's beard to examine them. They needed to stop the kids from leaving and keep them safe. It's great that Chopper gets to use his medical skills here. Meanwhile, in the realm of the dead, Loki was confident in his abilities despite being weakened. He mocked the idea that a single sea stone shackle could hold him back. Luffy called out, and Sanji gritted his teeth. Loki cackled maniacally, telling them to release him or he'd destroy Elbaph. He was clearly looking for an excuse to cause violence, and he didn't even wait a moment before lifting his hammer, ready to wipe them all out. Loki's brother begged him to stop, but Loki struck the base of the tree with incredible force. Zoro shielded his face from the bright flash of light, while Luffy, Sanji, and the other giants were left speechless. Thunder crackled overhead, and the clouds seemed to lash out at the atom tree itself. Fire erupted from the point of impact. Back at the party, they reported lightning and a fire to the south, along with the sound of a horn blaring. At the Walrus School, Anne called out to Saul and Kiba, panting, and revealed that she recognized the monsters. It turned out that they were from earlier that day. The kids started discussing Loki and his mighty hammer, but one of them corrected the others, saying that Nico would be the one to destroy the world. The kids showed off their drawings, and things got heated. One drew Loki, calling him the scariest, while another claimed that Fenrir was the scariest due to its horns. Two of the kids had old blood, and they all chimed in with their own opinions. They mentioned ghosts, Draugr, Norse zombies, a storm Nidhugr, a Norse god said to bite the roots of the world tree, Jörmungandr, which we saw earlier, and even one of their moms, Yova. Miss Anne's teacher apologized, but she saw the drawing exercise as a great chance for the kids to express themselves and showcase their unique perspectives and imaginations, and informed her colleagues that the monsters were manifestations of the children's fears, bringing their nightmare world to life. The scene was filled with terrifying creatures, including a bear with a helmet, the dragon Nidhugr, and a massive bird resembling Vidopnir, the Norse eagle perched atop the world tree. Other creatures included a version of Loki wielding a sword, the fearsome Norse wolf Fenrir, an angry storm reminiscent of Zeus, a ghost, a kraken, and a nightmarish Nidhugr hell-bent on destroying the world. There was even a ghost with a hat and a Draugr emerging from the ground. Meanwhile, St. Kingham woke up and confirmed his success, implying that the sleep-related events were his doing. St. Summers praised Kingham, who would lift his power once the children were on the ship. However, Summers wondered if the adults would be able to retrieve the children before then. St. Summers laughed and shared his philosophy that to love is to hurt others, comparing it to the beautiful but thorny rose. He asked Gunko what she feared the most, and after some thought, she admitted that she was most afraid of Nika. This revelation added another layer to the story, and it's clear why Loki believes he's Nika. He hasn't moved in years, longer than Luffy's been a pirate. Loki's abilities are even more impressive considering he's been severely beaten and is still wearing a massive sea stone shackle. Despite this, he can swing his oversized hammer and threaten the entire country in mere seconds. The fact that he's blindfolded only adds to his intimidating presence. This makes Shanks' victory over Loki even more impressive. Loki's hammer, Ragnar, resembles a gigantic poneglyph, large enough for giants to read. It appears to have been coated with a lasting layer of armament hockey and fashioned into a powerful weapon. Thank you all for watching, and please like and subscribe. See you in the next one.